Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here as always with super fans Devin Circus and Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast. And this is week 14's preview of Jungle Talk. And I've got stuff in my hand, so I can't clap, so I'm not going to clap. Yeah, I got papers in my hand. Sorry. So there you go. Thank you. So before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Just support the channel for fans, by fans. So please just support us and hit the thumbs up. Give us the helps us out with the YouTube analytics. And Jake does a number of great podcasts. Jake, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Yeah, Jake Circus podcast on Spotify and YouTube. New episode is out on Monday. It went over, obviously, well, it's kind of outdated because it was about week 13, but also had a good bit in there about the college football playoff. Oh, hi, Jax. Hey, buddy. About the college football playoff committee leaving out an undefeated team, and I gave my uncut thoughts on that. And yeah, so Spotify and YouTube, happy to be back on as always. Interesting matchup this week.
Yeah, no.
Think it'll be interesting.
And before we get started, why don't you tell them, because you went down to Jerry World, this weekend, so you can see some of his stuff on his Twitter feed. But go ahead and tell us how that went.
Yeah, I've talked about it on the show a couple times. Been doing stuff with BR betting this football season. Do TikTok lives, app shows, and they flew me out to Dallas to make some content for the Big 12 title game, Texas Oklahoma. Texas is back. They're in the playoff. They're going to be a tough out, and it was a good time. That was my second time at Jerry's World. That place is unreal, man. No, never fails. Place is awesome.
Have you been to SoFi? You've been to SoFi, haven't you?
I have not been inside of SoFi yet. No, I have not.
So I'm just curious. I haven't been down to Jerry World, so I would love to comparison because SoFi is a pretty amazing facility as well. I've been to most of the new stadiums. I've been to Arizona and then Vegas. And I think SoFi is better than the other two, but I was curious how Jerry World compares. So, but all right, well, let's get started. This is kind of a Jake Browning surprised us all, got rid of the ball faster. Zach had a great game plan. It got executed. I think we all were surprised on what happened Monday night. So coming into this week, it's like, can we do it 2 weeks in a row? I mean, this is, to me, is the biggest test, is to see what we've got going this week. And these teams could not be more similar in terms of stats and stuff. So I mean, they're both defenses allow some points, which is why I personally will get into gambling later, but I love the over in this game. It's a 40.5, and both teams are giving up, 2 or 3 points more than that. So, but this is kind of like I said, are we going to see another, Jake Browning, or has a week of film? Is Indianapolis going to be able to stop kind of some of what we did? I'm real curious on seeing, what we're going to get this week. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm more curious on hearing what Jake Circus has to say, because him and I have had some interesting conversations pretty much since Burrow went down. And obviously everybody knows Jake's away at school. We probably talk 6 times a day. A lot of it is Bengals. And we were in very stark difference of opinion post Monday night game and Tuesday. Look, I've got a sense of optimism. We talked about it on the aftermath on the show on Monday night, that they did a great, going back to when Browning took over for Burrow. And look, this is reading what people are saying. I'm no insider. I don't know anything. I don't have any sources, but everything you read and everything you hear is that they went to Browning when he was taking over the job and kind of said, built the offense on what they wanted him to do and what he was comfortable with. And basically it was, I want to run Burrow's offense. Obviously can't make all the same throws, can't make all the same plays. And it failed miserably in, who the heck did we play 2 weeks ago? Pittsburgh. And they changed it up. They catered the offense to what Jake Browning can do last week. And it started slow, the checkdowns, the screens, nothing more than 3-5 yards downfield. He got comfortable. They were running the ball. There's all kinds of stats all week on Twitter. What happens when the Bengals rush the ball? I think the magic number was 30 times. We're 4-0 when we run the ball 30 times. Let's freaking run the ball. But the offense opened up and they were able to throw the ball downfield. Jake Browning to Jamar Chase is our longest play of the year. It doesn't mean anything as one play, but it was pretty freaking cool. Yeah, there's more tape on Browning, and the Colts can get better at game planning. But is Jake Browning any worse than Gardner Minshew? Probably not. We got a battle of gunslinger backup quarterbacks. Both teams have talented wide receivers. Jake's laughing, so I can't wait what I just said.
Jake Browning, the gunslinger.
Yeah, let's sling it.
So,
they're on their backup running back. Zach Moss is Zach Moss. Joe Mixon is not the same Joe Mixon of 5 years ago, but he's looked good. Chase Brown looks good. Yeah, this game has everything to all the makings of a shootout is what I'm trying to say. And it could be a blast of a game to watch.
Yeah, that's why I expected the over-under to be at least 5 points higher. I really did.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
40.5 to me, and you tease it in the 30s. I mean, come on, that's the only bet I was on Monday was the over, and it hit just part of the way through the third quarter. I mean, we're sitting at halftime at 28, and you were sitting at like 34.5 or something on the tees. Yep. Like I said, I really like the over this week. So
what Costa Rican book do you use where you got 40.5?
That's what it's on. I was just looking at the line
for our game.
44.
In India, I got Indianapolis on. Maybe it's gone up in the last couple of days because I had Indianapolis minus.
Oh, it opened 40. Yeah, it opened
40. At 40. Okay,
it got up to.
So it went up. Yeah,
44.
well then there you go. That's so. I still like the over. I still like the over.
I will say that there's projected because I actually took the under, but we can get into that later.
Yeah.
There's I think 16 mile an hour winds at Paycor on Sunday, something like that. It's something crazy. Anyways, more thing on that gunslinger. Like, we use the word gunslinger way too much nowadays. Like, quarterbacks loved getting called gunslingers 7 years ago. Now it's like you don't want to get called a gunslinger because everybody gets called a gunslinger now. So I don't think Jake Browning is a gunslinger, but I think that he had the best game of his life in prime time. And I don't want to be the hater, but if we do get to a point where we remember that Joe Burrow is really good and a lot better, maybe that'll come this week. But Mark, you said that these teams are even. They are. Neither of these teams are particularly good. The Colts are very well coached. The Bengals at times are very well coached. Right. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing ever. That was like the best game Zach Taylor's ever coached. I was on my knees. I was like, holy shit, this is like the greatest thing Zach Taylor's ever done.
Beating Pittsburgh with Ryan Finley.
That's
the top, but this is right up there in like the top. This has got to be number 2 or 3. So
the Colts are a weird team. They've played a lot of weird games. They started with Anthony Richardson, who made a lot of mistakes, and they have a rookie head coach. But this will be a test for Jake Browning because although this Colts defense doesn't have great talent, they're not great against the run, and they're certainly not great against the pass. But you got to face Gus Bradley, and that's always tough.
Right. Well, situationally, the Colts have come through when they needed to be. So
they're very well coached. They're very well coached. Yeah, some of the first-year head coaches this year actually done a really good job. Gannon looks unbelievable in Arizona. I think Steichen's done a really good job. In Indy, obviously Frank Reich didn't really work out. Who am I forgetting? Who are the other first-year head coaches? Who am I forgetting?
This year?
Yeah.
First year.
Cart Gannon. Did you say Gannon?
Yeah, Gannon's done a good job in Arizona.
I think you got everybody.
Only 3?
No, there's more than 3.
No, there's more than 3. We're just not.
Right, Gannon.
But put it in the comments.
Move on.
Yeah, put it in the comments. So, no, these teams, like I said, and I think like the Bengals situationally, while their stats didn't look great on defensively on
D'Amico.
There you go. Oh,
great job.
How can we forget him?
Can't believe I forgot. It's my guy.
He's a leading candidate for Coach of the Year. So
does Sean Payton count? Who's also done a good job, by the way. But like I don't know.
Yeah.
Sean Payton.
And his stuff, on Sean Payton, and then we'll get back to this game. But Sean Payton, he made some comments earlier about Nathaniel Hackett, and those have actually now his comments have aged pretty well. You're looking the stuff that he said about the Jets, he was spot on. So
Sean Payton's a football whiz. I mean, anybody who tries to go after that dude, like, you're an idiot.
Right. Well, and nobody cost me more money last year than Nathaniel Hackett. So I agree with every word he said. But I think maybe that should have been internal dialogue, because as an analyst, you can say that. As a head coach, you probably shouldn't say that. So, but his stuff has aged very well. So, but let's get back to our game. So, yeah, this situationally, the Bengals defensively, I think on Monday, the stats weren't like jumping off the page, but situationally, we did what we needed to do. The Colts are kind of that same kind of animal. I mean, they give up a lot of ugly plays. I mean, block a punt, get a touchdown, and then give up a conversion on a pick. I guess we'll call it a pick two, because you ran it the other way. But it was one of those, situationally, they came through when they needed to and won that game. So this game is, like I said, it's a test. We're going to know what we have more with Jake Browning, and the Colts are certainly in the driver's seat, with the tiebreakers they have and the record they have for getting into the playoffs. They, of their last 5, I think they need to win like 3 of them probably, as they're the
Bengals
tiebreaker. We're not.
Bengals are right in it too. Like, they have games against the Colts, the Browns, and the Steelers still.
Oh yeah.
So one thing I'm.
But
no tiebreaker.
We need to be a game ahead of everybody, because our conference record sucks, our division record sucks, and our head-to-head with we don't have the tiebreaker with Houston. We have the tiebreaker with Jacksonville, but if they win the division, it's irrelevant. Right. So, and we only got our second AFC win on, so I mean, we literally have to win all the AFC games, and then I still don't know that we have the tiebreaker.
Right.
Can we please just lose out and get a 4th place schedule next year? Why am I the only one talking about that?
We could win out and still get a 4th place schedule. Yeah. We could make the playoffs and still get a 4th place schedule.
Well, if we make the playoffs, then the whole division's in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if that's going to happen, but
one thing
with Mitch Trubisky running.
Oh yeah, without Pickett, because Pickett's so good.
Yeah, but Trubisky's worse. Hey, one thing I want to say on the Colts, because we're all over the place right now.
Yeah.
They're in the playoff. They're in the playoffs right now. If I hate. There's nothing I hate more than if the playoffs started today.
Because they're not
starting today. Okay, but they're holding a playoff spot right now. They got a fluke win against Baltimore. They beat Houston in week 2, but other than that, their wins are Tennessee twice, Carolina, New England, and what I think is a bad Tampa Bay team. Like, they haven't done anything.
Right.
They're not a very good football team.
No, and at times we've been right there too. That's why I said this game is it couldn't be more evenly matched. I really, of all the games going in, I have no idea whether we win or not on Sunday. I'll be rooting for us, but
of course,
yeah.
Well, one thing that I'm looking for on Sunday is to see what the approach is. The approach with the offense and Browning was very different on Monday night than it was against Pittsburgh.
Right.
It was very much a screw it. Let's just throw a bunch of stuff out there and see what works. We saw a Jamar Chase pass to Browning. We saw a Tyler Boyd pass that was essentially a handoff to Josh Allen on the other team. But it really felt like they were just calling backyard ball and let's just try all this crap and see what works. It didn't even feel real, but yet it was open and it was loose. And Jake, you commented, you're critical of Zach, and you've had your comments about the coaching staff. They did a good job with this offense and with this game plan, and I hope they stick with it. I made the comment Monday night that it almost feels like Zach and the staff fall into the trap of when Burrow's healthy and playing, they just kind of sit back and let Burrow go into God mode and really don't do anything. But they coached the hell out of this game on Monday night, and I'm really interested to see what happens on Sunday. Do they stay with it and let her rip and cater to Browning and get the running game going? And look, this offense runs through Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has to have double-digit targets, and I'm really curious to see what happens.
Well,
that's a really good point. Kind of looking into the future a little bit with this opportunity that not just the defense has, not just Browning has, but the coaching staff as well. One of my buddies tweeted, really smart guy. Right when Burrow went down, he was like, "This is a great opportunity for Zach Taylor and the Bengals, because they're going to have to call things that they didn't call and they thought they didn't need to call with Burrow."
Right.
And they're going to have to basically switch everything up. And he phrased it in a very intellectual way that I can't really remember what it was. But basically, he circled back on Monday after going through or Tuesday after going through the tape, and he's like, the Bengals have never done any of this. Like the tight end leak stuff. Like they've teased at it with a lot of the Hudson targets, and Samples getting a lot of buzz because of his pass blocking performance, which was very, very good on Monday. But he's like, the Bengals have never done this, like with Burrow and Zach. They've never done this. So if they can now do this with Burrow, and obviously they're not going to change the whole offense because it is still going to be Burrow, but if they can always find a way to wrinkle these in and add a safety valve to the offense to some degree, it's going to make everything so much better.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thank you for continuing that, and really well done. That it's almost like, let's take football out of it, and Mark, Jake's in school, but Mark, we're adults, and sometimes with adversity and work or family, you have to go about things differently.
Yes.
And you become better on the other end of it. So can this make Zach a better coach? Can this make the Brian Callahan a better offensive coordinator? And will this force them to look at what they're doing to get Jake Browning and this offense adequate, maybe win a couple games? We've said it before, the results almost don't matter. We want them to matter because we are in the playoff hunt. But bigger picture, if they can get to spring camp and OTAs and then summer camp, next training camp next season, and be like, wow, we learned a lot from when we had to call plays differently for Jake Browning. To your point, Jake, it could be look out next year, and that's the optimist in me, but let's hope.
Yeah. Well, we actually looked, it gave me hope. And I said this on the Monday recap with you. Now I see Browning. He could be a viable backup. I mean, at the end of the season, we could emerge where we're not in the hunt for a backup quarterback next year. We have him if we re-sign Browning. I mean, if he keeps putting up numbers like this is a quarterback, shortage, the quarterback shortage in the league. He might find himself in a team that's hungry to try anything. But he showed the potential of actually being a viable backup. He got rid of the ball a lot quicker. So it didn't pressure the defense, our offensive line to have to block for long periods of time. And then the scheme with Zach was much better, and we ran the ball. Everything, all the passing set up because we ran the ball and we're effective. I know we're averaging less than 20 yards a game with the Colts on ground, but we don't try to run as much as the Colts do. So
I am bizarred at how they were able to run the ball against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has been a team all year. It's been one of the most consistent things in the NFL this season in a year where there's been nothing consistent. But the Jags front has done exceptional at stopping the run. And the Bengals were able to do whatever they want offensively with all the gimmicks. But I just thought the down-to-down stuff was very efficient, and some of the stuff they were doing was interesting and new. But all of that stemmed from the fact that they were able to get 4 to 6 yards every time they ran the ball. Yeah. And I haven't looked at the tape, so I don't really know exactly what they did differently, or if just the offensive line played really well for one game and it was just a fluke. I don't know. But that was certainly eye-opening and intriguing going forward the rest of the year. If they can find a way going into the offseason where their number one need on offense is not, we need three offensive linemen that can block the run. Because that's the problem. Because if you need to reshape your interior line for the third time in 4 years because you still can't run the ball, even though you have high character guys finally on that line and on paper good players, but if they can't block for running backs and create holes 2-3 yards upfield, that's a huge issue. So if they can find a way to fix that by the end of the year, that's good going into the offseason.
Yeah.
There was something I saw the last couple of days from people that do break down film and people that know what they're talking about. I forgot what the term they used, and we weren't just running in between the tackles. I want to say they were calling them drag runs, where it was almost like a delay. Chase Brown or Mixon would go right up the middle and just kind of drag wide, and a lot of times run outside of the tackle. I know you're a tape guy. Is drag
well? I
right
think
term?
What they might have done, and again, I did not look at the personnel sets yet, but because Sample played a lot.
He
So
did.
like I want to say that they had more that they went more heavy more often, and they had two tight ends out there, which
I read that too.
they
Sample was key. People
which
were
they
saying-
have not been able to do for one particular reason. They have not had a tight end that can catch the ball. So every time the Bengals have brought two tight ends into the game, it's like the same thing when 2 years ago when Stanley Morgan came into the game. They were going to run the ball, and everybody knew they were going to run the ball. Remember, everybody was talking about for like half the season, every time Stanley Morgan came in the game, the other team knew it was going to be a run. For the last 2 years, every time the Bengals brought an extra tight end, the other team knew they were going to run the ball. And for whatever reason, the Jags didn't know that because Hudson's been good. Wilcox has been all right. Like
all four of them have done well.
They still need a tight end.
Tight end on the team.
Like they still need it. Like now it's time. Like you got to go get a tight end that can catch passes. Yeah. Like I'm sorry, Tanner Hudson guys. It's time to take this offense to a new level. Like I'm sorry. Like
I like Tanner Hudson though.
If they can run the ball with two tight ends and have a credible threat with play action and passing to those tight ends, it will take the offense to a new level.
Yep. And that tight end will not be named Brock Bowers in orange and black next year.
Why not?
I'm not drafting Brock Bowers.
They have every reason to.
2 weeks.
We're going to have a whole draft show later on. So
they have every reason. They have every reason to take Brock Bowers.
Before we talk about who we're drafting, let's see where we're drafting. But Tanner Hudson's averaging 4 or 5 catches a game, and he only played on Monday night. Already was only in like a third of the plays.
Yeah, he did not have a high snap count.
No, but he still caught his 4 or 5 passes, and Drew Sample, like I said, had his. They actually schemed Sample open using Chase. So we're gonna see. Like I said, we've had him out there. So, and I like Tanner Hudson, and I also like the fact that he's your emergency quarterback. There's a certain aspect to having, because you're only going to carry 2. If we actually needed to get to an emergency quarterback, having somebody who actually could go out there and take the snaps and not be running the wildcat the whole time. So,
Christian McCaffrey.
What's that?
Christian McCaffrey at quarterback.
There you go. Yeah. So, but all right. So any other, like I said, we talked about how even this game is. The injury report wasn't anything. Nothing really jumped out at me. We had a lot of guys, on limited practice, but
Tyler Boyd moved on to it today. Tyler Boyd was full yesterday and limited today.
Right.
So something happened yesterday.
Okay.
I think Tyler Boyd's quit. I think he's done.
He is. It's quite possible. But
that pass was hey, by the way, let's not. If we're going to run something, let's run a flea flicker or something where Browning actually throws the ball. Let's get away from the 2 worst passes of the game weren't thrown by Browning. So let's get away from that.
Yeah, I think we need to stick with the backup quarterback being the only guy that throws the ball.
Yeah, the guy who's actually in there at quarterback, and you can run a gimmick play. I don't mind running a flea flicker or something, but let's not have Boyd throwing it back. Let's not have Browning catching a ball for a loss for 7. When you're behind the line, it's coming out, knock it down.
That was arguably even worse, having the receiver being Jake Browning. That was probably worse than having the receiver throw.
Right.
Boyd can throw.
Yeah. What makes it worse is that I watched that again the other night.
Yeah.
Browning was at the line of scrimmage. Normally on that play, the quarterback runs a wheel route and you try and pick up 20, 30 yards. Like had he run a wheel route and been open, okay. Or if it's incomplete, okay. But Browning wasn't at the line of scrimmage. He was 5 yards behind the line.
7 yards behind the line. Yeah.
Zach.
Well, like I said, and then the Tyler Boyd, we could do a whole show on that. I even saw Mixon kind of like shrugging his shoulders, like he couldn't believe the ball got thrown. Josh Allen just
that was
we need
that game's not close. We run away with that game on Monday night. You take out that play.
We need to see more of the young receivers because I don't see a world where they're going to dish out money to a free agent receiver or take another one with a high pick. If they lose T. Higgins, they are going to have to fill that void internally based on what it looks like right now. And if they do win 2-3 games the rest of the year and fuck up the draft pick, they're like there's guys that are going to be there, but they're probably going to be reaches and they might have to go defense or if Bowers falls or whatever the case may be, lineman, whatever. But if T. Higgins ends up leaving, which He still might tag him. That's a whole new story. I think there's a way better chance T comes back than there was that Jesse was going to come back
Right.
a year ago. So we'll see. But that's going to be a void that if they need to fill, it's going to come internally. So we need to see more of Jones and more of Yoshi.
Yeah, I agree. No, I wanted to see more of him on Monday. So nothing has changed with me. I want to see Battle looked fantastic. Turner's looked
He's
very
great.
good. Yeah, we got
Battle's really
there.
Battle
good.
and Turner are unbelievable.
So
Turner's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it yet, the video started coming out today. Turner was mic'd up on Monday night. It was very entertaining stuff.
oh, okay. I'm gonna check that out. But yeah, so I still want to see, I still say empty the cupboard. And we also saw Monday night a lot more aggressive, fourth down, early on, going forward in midfield. I mean, what do we got to lose?
Right.
I have no problem.
Well, the problem with that is, do you know how many times in the last 3 years where the Bengals have immediately sent the punt team out in that situation with Joe Burrow at quarterback? That's the problem.
Right.
Because that is sometimes a go situation. Now, I'm the guy I always say to go for it. I wanted them to punt. Like I wanted them to punt. And they went for it, and Browning held the ball for 20 seconds.
Right. Well, after that, he got rid of the ball a lot sooner. I mean, he was averaging, I think, under 3 seconds on getting rid of the ball. So, that was one of the big changes. And dumbing down the playbook for him. They definitely, less is more. So like I said, I'm really curious to see what we get. This is the real game to see yes, you had an amazing game Monday night. Can we duplicate that? Not specifically the way we did it, but can we duplicate that this week after? I think we've got Minnesota, then Pittsburgh. Yep. I mean, can we duplicate that? If we're going to run a string together and start stacking some wins, this week is the big test. So if we can't,
by the way,
go ahead.
I'm going to add one more thing. Sorry.
No,
PFF has before we get into predictions, PFF has a pressure win percentage based on how many times you attempt to rush the quarterback and how amount of times you actually win that rep. Amongst rookie pass rushers with at least 20% of the team snaps, Myles Murphy is behind Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. That's it. And that's
of rookies, right?
Yep.
Of rookies. He had some good plays on Monday. So, and he hesitated. There was one play they were at the sideline, and it looked like he was gonna grab a hold of a jersey and pull somebody to the ground on the white line, and he kind of pulled him to the line and then let go.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Eddie, because that you yank him down to the ground at that point, there's a flag, and that's 15 more yards. So
yeah,
we saw him out there.
He needs to play more. He only had 12 snaps on Monday, but he was really good in the Pittsburgh game, and we didn't talk about that. He was really good in the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah,
really good.
He needs to get more time. Empty the cupboard. We need to know what we have, and if nothing else, you get these guys valuable snaps. These are not preseason games. These are real snaps in real games. It's invaluable. So we got to use the last 5 for this. And if we win, great. And if we don't, hey, 4th place schedule, better draft pick. But let's empty the cupboard and see what we have. There you go. Well, I'm with you. It's that ambivalence, because I really would love a top 10 pick, because I've said it before. It's not just the first, it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. That's where we make our hay. And to be drafting, day 2, to be drafting, 8th, 9th, or 10th on the 2nd and 3rd rounds, those are the picks.
Yeah, you always want to have a high 2nd round draft pick so you can trade down and take Drew Sample and Jackson Carman.
Well, I knew you were going to get that Drew Sample comment in. So, but all right, let's do predictions. Devin, lead us off. What do you got?
Well, I was going to go big, but Jake scared me a little bit about the weather, and my big prediction was going to be a little big anyway. But I'm incredibly optimistic. I'm super excited coming off Monday. I think we've got for probably the 2nd or 3rd time, we'll say we've got the right opponent at the right time, and I think we win this game 27-23. I think it's close most of the way. We pull ahead and comfortably win 27-23 in a game it feels like we're never really going to lose.
I'll catch my under ticket easily. I'll take it.
27-23 is an under.
I thought you said 23-17. Sorry.
No. He said no.
27-23 because
He's
50
got it.
points being scored.
Yeah, he's got 50.
I originally was going to go 31-24.
I was similar to you. I have a 24-23. I'm being optimistic. I don't know that I think this is a back and forth game. It's at home. I think we get the play we need at the right time. That's situational football. And I think we end up pulling the game out. And if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be devastated. Like I said, I'm going with the cup half empty, the cup half full, and I think either way we're winning. It's a winner. If we wind up with a 4th place schedule and a better draft pick, that's a win too. And keep seeing the talent in the cupboard so we know how to buy ingredients at the draft and free agency. So win or lose. Jake, what do you got for us? And then are you going to give us a pick this week?
I can give a pick. College football's done, and Oregon, I'm still recovering from that one. So
that cost me a big card. That was a big leg home on a card that had a lot already home. That Oregon game hurt. So I was at a concert and I looked at the final score and I went, oh. So yeah. That was my only big disappointment of the weekend was Oregon losing that game.
So I do think it goes under. Well, okay, my pick is Cowboys -3.5 because the Eagles suck. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Cowboys
favored by 3.5.
Cowboys
-3.5.
Yes,
in Dallas against the Eagles. That's my pick. I was on the Niners last week. This Eagles team's so fucking overrated. It pisses me off. Yeah. They're so overrated. Dallas is my Super Bowl pick. Like I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl. So yeah, -3.5. I got -3. I think it's up to 3.5 now. It wasn't like last week's line where it moved 5 points in favor of San Fran and everyone wanted to take the Eagles, and then the Niners won by like 1 million.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm gonna do.
You're gonna tease it to +3?
Oh, +3.5. Yeah, I'll have the Cowboys, even if they don't pull it out. It's like, okay.
I can't wait to come back here.
At the last minute. I don't think the Eagles are going to run away with it. The Eagles have been stealing wins they should have had all year. So, I mean, if they steal this game, they won't steal it from me.
All right. Well, after the Eagles fluke their way into another win, you have the trump card on me again. After yeah. All right. After Oregon State, I'm still pissed about that one. I lost off of fucking safety.
Yeah. So,
all right. So,
Jake, you're the best. Oregon State. I won it on the teaser. So, but all right. And then your score for this game. What do you got?
Yeah, I think it goes.
You're gonna have a lower.
I think it goes on. I think it goes under. I think both DCs will come to play. Two very good DCs. Say what you want about Lou. He's still very good. So is Gus Bradley. Wins. I think that this is gonna come down to a Gardner Minshew turnover. He's been one of the most turnover happy quarterbacks in the league this season. Just interceptions, fumbles, turnover worthy plays. He's almost has double the amount of turnover worthy plays as he does as big time throws, which is a PFF stat. So I think it comes down to that. I think both teams will struggle to move. I just don't think either offense is really any good. So 2017 Bengals still fluke their way into a turnover at the end of the game and win it.
Okay. Yeah, Gardner Minshew, isn't he averaging almost 2 turnovers a game?
Yeah, he has like 30 turnover worthy plays. It's awful.
So, but all right, well there you have it. Like I said, if you don't subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Jake, remind everybody where they can find your podcasts.
Jake Circus Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus. Say hi.
All right. And we will be here right after the game with our recap. So please give us a thumbs up. Join us after the recap and have a good rest of your week, everybody. I'm going to say, Hoo day. Take care.